Hey, what do you say? This is Bobby Blitz from Overkill. That's right, we're on the Age of Metal. You stay right where you are.
Hello everyone, this is Miguel with the Age of Metal, and I'm here in Tempe, Arizona, outside of the Marquee Theater with none other than Blitz from Overkill. How you doing, sir?
Hola, Miguel. Hola, boys and girls.
Well, how has been this tour so far for you guys?
It's a great package. One of the great things about, I think, bands that are cut from the 80s is that we have a lot of the same principles and values. I mean, especially if we're still working this many years later. It's been Overkill touring since '86. I think Creator started touring in '87. So I mean, you put all that experience and history together. I think that we're looking for the same results, and we've known these guys in the past, and they're great guys. So the idea is that the competitiveness is not before the show and who's bigger or better. The competitiveness is on the stage.
Definitely.
And I think that that's really what makes for a great tour. Because the people who win are the ones who pay for tickets.
Yeah.
So it's I want to beat Miller every night. I don't, but I go up there to beat him.
Well, Blitz, last tour, we got the fortune to see you guys, but unfortunately you couldn't finish the tour. How's your health so far?
Oh, it was good. It took me about 3 months to get my shit together. It was community-based pneumonia, which is it's like a viral bacteria. So it sat way in the bottom of my lungs, and I wasn't the only one who was sick. I got the sickest, but there were 6 other guys who were pretty close to that bad shape. I ended up in a hospital in Buffalo. I know Derek was and Ron had to go to emergency rooms the next day. So it ran through the bus like kind of like a house fire, and so it hit everybody. And once we got it on the bus, it was just impossible to continue. It was to the point of I don't know if it was life-threatening, but threatening for sure. So,
definitely. Yeah. I mean, but you had a good back and feet, right?
Yeah, I mean, it took about 3 months. I had actually stopped using tobacco about 6 months before that, and that's what made me more susceptible to it than the other guys, because my lungs had been clearing out, so they were more on the virgin side of things and more delicate at that time. So that's why I got sick. But it took me probably 3 months to feel right after it. So we did another tour in April, and I was just coming out of it by that point. So and that worked out pretty well. So I feel great now.
Definitely. Well, at the beginning of the year, you were touring with Testament, and definitely it was a great package. I think that your set was kind of the one that stand up at the night every night because of the level of production. How is different this tour compared to that one from the production side?
Well, from a production standpoint, we've obviously brought more with us. Some of the same things, backdrops, etc., drum risers. The thinking is for Overkill ever since the beginning is about presentation. It's part of the equation. Let's say it's not necessarily the first thing, but it's still one of the necessary elements. So production and presentation, we always feel equals value and standard. So we want to present ourselves that way to people out here. I remember the production for Testament being really big on that tour also, and it was good that we could get our stuff up on that stage every night and still be able to present ourselves at a high level. So we're still doing the same kind of an approach to it. Overkill equals big.
Definitely, the visual image from that tour was really huge and personally impacted me a lot more than the Testament set. What goes into the visual image of Overkill? The time you put together that is the presentation, the visual image what do you guys have in account?
Well, it's first and foremost, it's to represent the last record that we do. So what we try to do is we try to mimic something with regard to artwork from the record, whether it be the front of the drum riser, where it's looks like a piece of the record artwork, whether it be the backdrops with flags and banners, whether it be the size of the amplifiers. And then it becomes choice of light, whether they be moving lights, whether they be strobe lights, whether they be washes that come up from the bottom, but everything is supposed to be different. And what dictates how those lights go is how the music is. I mean, so it's really kind of a simple process. You take what you have, or what you have created musically and visually on the CD, and try to expand that into kind of, let's say, instead of a CD or something you're only hearing, but a living fantasy, where it doesn't only attack your ears, but it attacks your ears, your eyes, and maybe even your nose.
I saw some of those kids after the pit with their nose running out. Well, with 16 albums in the belt, how difficult it gets to put together a set list tour after tour?
Well, it is. If we're 16 albums deep, and what Creator and Overkill did on this tour was decide that we make this even, right down the middle. This way the field is level. There is no headliner, there is no opener, that we're both just playing at different times. That's as simple as it is. So we decided that instead of doing 90-minute sets and tiring everybody out with 180 minutes of music, we would do 70 minutes. So when we put this tour together, we said, hey man, we're up against a great thrash band. The idea is that we have to load the gun. Best weapons we have kind of a mentality. So it is hard to put a set together, but I think that one of the things that we'll always lean toward is maybe a little bit of the newer material, and that's because it's fun for us to play. That has to be part of it. So there's 3-4 new ones, there are old ones, there's a few from the middle, but it's 70 minutes of barrage of I think what we do best.
Definitely. Now, with this kind of different tour packages, bands that are coming back with new albums or bringing their albums back, for example, and I take the example of Morbid Angel playing this the whole Covenant album. Have you guys ever think on doing a tour just with Under the Influence or with Years of Decay? I'll take that as a no, sir.
It's not. I've always the thing I'm most proud of, and I've said it in other interviews, is that Overkill is valued in the present. That regardless of the amount of time we've spent here, our principles are high, our values are high. I like to be known for what I am, not for what I was. And it's a nice compliment to someone to say, hey, that record in 1989 was great. But as soon as you start using that word, the word was, it really devalues today. So I always think in terms of how can we present ourselves in the modern era, in the modern day. How do we fit into thrash 2013? And that's what I suppose we're proud men, and we've always followed our own rules and written our own rule book. And when this was an unpopular genre, we continued. That's why we have 16 records. It's an unpopular genre, but we knew the underground existed because we were part of it. We knew the people that were down there. So I think that really, when it comes to that type of a presentation, it's not in our vocabulary at this point. I mean, we're still trying to blaze new paths. No matter how small they may be, they're still new to us.
I mean, I see it because some of the kids now, they wanted to have the experience of have to listen to those songs live, the experience of what their parents live. Because you get a lot of kids coming that their parents were the influence, so that's where that come from.
It's funny. It's if you look at the value of what this music has done, it has transcended 3 generations, and that shows value. I mean, that right there. I mean, it's something that's ours collectively, and once you're into it, and even if you stop listening to it after a certain amount of time, it's still part of you. It's what gives people their sense of community, their self-esteem within group. I say it on stage every night. We've done a lot of things together, and together we can run through walls. But by myself, I can't. And that's really, I think, a good philosophy for how the value of this music has transcended those generations, because it becomes attractive to the new person, and they get to experience it as I did, for instance, in 1985, but only 28 years later.
Gotcha. Now, it's been 2 years since the Electric Age. Is Overkill working on new material? We want to see something. Oh,
Shot of that place?
yeah, please. We will see something in the 2014 year then.
Yeah, I have. I'm doing mixes of all the vocals on the on the bus. I'm finishing the record. The boys have recorded everything except lead guitars and overdubs. So I have finished tracks, and I mean, these are not album quality tracks, but I like writing on the road because, especially for the last 2 records, we grabbed a great energy from touring in the center of recording, and it was. I'm the last one to finish, so it's always been like so. But if I can, play in Tempe and then be, maybe finishing some vocals on the way to Albuquerque tonight, it's going to have a great live feel to it, and I think that's an advantage. So we're looking to drop the record on March 7th, 2014. That's for sure the European date. The American date will be 2 days, one way or the other. So new Overkill on the way. Yeah,
definitely. Okay, now talking about that, what can you tell us about the new Overkill besides that you guys are working on it?
It's hard for me to get a full picture until it's done. One of the things I did notice is that it's more dimensional than the Electric Age. It has the traditional values we always have, but with really kind of a contemporary approach to it. It comes across more as a metal record to me than it does a thrash record, but I can only throw those short comments in because it's not 100% finished. I can't see the full picture yet. So, but
still is a glimpse.
It's exciting though. It's still exciting, and I think that's as we were talking about the difference between now and then, or was and is. I think what we are doing at this particular moment is something that is a great blend of what this lineup can come up with, because the chemistry is it's at a high level. Ron Lipnicki's 4th record here, and he understands the band, and that's huge for us. So.
Well, that's good news. That's really good news for everyone. Now, what is your opinion, because I know Overkill has been around for a long time, about the Big 4 thing, which in my opinion should be like the Big A, because you're having out a picture bands like Exodus, Testament, and Overkill, and even Flotsam and Jetsam and Sacred Reich.
Creator,
of course. What is your opinion on that kind of like little circle of the Big 4?
I usually like to say the Big Who.
Gotcha.
No. I mean, they've obviously changed music to a large degree and brought thrash to the masses. And Metallica, just on their own, has changed the face of music. They actually have changed the definition of what pop music is. So obviously, their impact is huge. I mean, I can't say that. When it comes down to my personal feeling about it, it's. I don't count my success in who kisses my ass. We had one of the guys on here from one of the opening bands the other night, and he kissed my ass for 10 minutes, and I said, "Are you done?" And he goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "The ass kissing." He said, okay, I'm done. I said, okay, no more. Have a beer, relax. Let's talk about something else. So it's not really my thing. I count my success more in the days that I've been able to live this life, and it's no longer I'm in a band or a career. It's actually a life. I've known Dee Dee since 1981. I mean, this is the person I know. The second longest next to anybody in my family. I know him longer than my wife. Wow. So I think the roads that we and the trails and the paths we take are based on the things we've accomplished. And we have to be able to celebrate that, and it doesn't have to be celebrated outside.
Now, talking about new music, and I know this kind of like is a little bit surprising. Do you listen to new music? Do you have any particular band that came out and you say, "Oh, this band stands up out of the blue"? And what is in your iPod? What is in your MP3? Kind of like what are you listening now?
Yeah, I have an eclectic view of music. I mean, of course, with we're traveling with 12 people on the bus, so you get exposed to new things all the time, even if you're not actively seeking it out. Somebody's going to throw something in or put the iPod in and go, check this out. You know, I like the new Havoc stuff. I think it's pretty good. You know, the Warbringer guys who are on this tour are a band that we've toured with 3 times, and I've seen them develop over those 4 records. And I always like I like progress. You know, one of my favorite newer bands, though not real new, is Evil. I don't know why. I love the way the band's fronted. I love the melodies that they use. I don't think that they're afraid to incorporate other things into their music. So with regard to new, when it comes to music in general, I mean, I'll listen to everything from the Rolling Stones to the first Slayer record to the Havoc record. So it's I'm kind of eclectic, and it depends on mood. Usually when I'm writing, I try not to listen to other stuff, and it's just because it sneaks in. Somebody put some old Southern rock and roll tune on the bus the other day, and I was back here writing afterwards, and it was a Molly Hatchet song called "Flirting with Disaster," right? And I'm back here and I'm finishing some stuff, and I said, I know this thing I wrote.
Molly Hatchet.
And I said, fuck. Stole it. So it snuck in my head and came out on the tape, so I had to change it.
Gotcha. Now, you've been touring with these new bands that represent the new wave of thrash metal. You tour with Warbringer, you tour with Diamond Plate. What is your opinion? These new bands that are bringing and carrying the flags of thrash metal in this new generation.
Well, I mean, obviously it's a good thing because we talked about generations earlier, and I think it's good that they carry it at that level. But it's a 2 or 3-fold question. I mean, I'm also a guy who understands business, and if I want to, you don't expand your crowd with 45-year-old thrash fans.
Yes.
You either are or you're not at 45. But you can with 18, 19-year-old thrash fans. So to have younger bands on the tour that have interest from younger thrash fans gives us the opportunity to incorporate them into our fold. So it's kind of an old guard, new guard, competitive, of course.
Yeah.
And I think that the cool thing about it is that the younger people who are into it can see now where a lot of the shit comes from. If Warbringer's touring with Exodus, Warbringer, and you're a Warbringer fan, and then Exodus comes on, and you didn't hear Exodus, for instance, you know where Warbringer came from. They're like, they're like they're like the grandchild.
The grandchild. The bridge between the old Exodus and the new Exodus.
Yes, it's a bridge. So I think that, it's a 2-fold thing, that it, again, shows the value, but it's always a great business move to put younger, more hungry bands out there that want to compete and want to, of course they want to steal our audience, and I say, go get them, man. Go get them.
Good luck with that.
Good luck, but go get them if you can. Good for you.
Awesome. Well, Blitz, thank you very much for taking the time to speaking here with us, the HML. Looking forward for the new Overkill album. Looking forward again for a great show tonight, as I had the experience to live it the past beginning of the year with Testament. Definitely looking forward for that, and glad you are here, and definitely looking forward for the next Overkill album.
I'll tell you something. You gotta move your hand over there and touch that. Get a shot of him doing it. Just touch it. Just put your hand on it. This is the first journalist to touch the new record.
I'm feeling in the clouds now. Blitz, thank you very much.
There we go.